Hey, it's Rob at EMPI. Do you love 914s? Do you love 911s? Do you love Porsches in general? You're going to love our next dealer visit video. We're going to PMB Performance, Murray, Utah, home of awesome PMB Performance brakes, as found on our SEMA 914. This is going to be a good one. You're going to want to see this. Mach schnell, let's go.
All right, well, what we're going to do here is we're going to take you through the steps that it takes to restore a 914. Typically, we'll get a car in like this.
Wow.
Our team will strip this thing down, and yeah, a lot of times they'll look like this, believe it or not. And we'll strip the thing down. Sometimes we'll get lucky and we'll have good bones here, and sometimes not so lucky, and it has to go into metal work. But everything gets stripped off of this car, every single thing. Motor and transmission out, bumpers are off, interior's getting ripped out, everything's gonna get stripped off of this tub. Doors come off, lids come off, everything comes off, and then we have it media blast and we take a look at what we have.
So Eric, on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of there's nothing I can do with this at 1 versus 10, this is going to be at Pebble, where does this one land right now?
This one here?
Yes.
Well, it's a demonstration of a teardown. This is a 0.
Oh,
so
okay. Wow. All right.
And I'll show you why. Hop around to the front.
Okay.
We can basically stick a fist
Oh, no.
here, right?
Oh, boy.
Not a big deal on its own, but when you add it up in every single area we look at, we're going to have a problem.
Yep.
Up here, that big bubble there.
Yep.
That means we're going to.
Oh, geez.
We're going to be able to stick a finger through there.
Okay.
This here, we've got a 1/4 inch of Bondo right there.
Oh, wow.
So this is gone. This is gone. That's gone. Engine shelves are gone. So this car will give us a transmission, it will give us some brake calipers, and it'll give us nice video fodder to show how you tear a car down.
Gotcha. Here's some custom raccoon work. Also, please note the pocket calculator.
This is what's next. So after we take a car apart, we then get it stripped of all the paint from underneath and the critical areas here. We'll strip the paint on the sides by hand because if you know a 914, these are all flat surfaces, so we don't want to get the sandblasting on there and warp those surfaces or anything like that. But suffice to say, all of the paint and all of the rust comes off this car. This car goes in for metal work, and every single piece of metal that needs to be repaired, needs to be replaced, is replaced. Then it comes back here and we do all of the seam sealing, and that's what we're doing here, is we're doing all of the seam sealing. And then after the seam sealing, then we're going to do the undercoating. So that's what you're looking at here. That's why this car is covered in plastic. If you want to take a sneak peek, hop inside here and you can see all the factory seam sealing that we do in here. We match all the factory techniques, and the whole car will get undercoated after this, and then it's off to paint. Once the car is undercoated here, it goes off for paint, and about 6 weeks worth of paint work goes into these, and you can see the fruit of our labors with some of the factory undercoating. Now that it's under paint, you can see it looks exactly the way the car was done at the factory. Again, this tub will have 0 rust on it, and it's all ready for final assembly. So it comes back basically like this, and one of the first things you're going to notice is immediately we'll put the paint protection film on the entire tub. It's going to be here for a couple of months as we assemble the car and get it ready to go out. Very first thing we do is put paint protection film on every car that we're working on.
So Eric, this level of detail in the undercoating doesn't matter if it's a street car or a resto mod or maybe even a circuit car, you're executing the same level?
Absolutely. Every single car, again, all of the rust is gone. Then we do exactly the way the factory. There's about 2 or 3 methods that they use for the undercoating. They'll do a bead. That's one method. They'll also then spray. They'll spray it out. What you're seeing here around the shock towers and around the old Sportomatic access port there. And then on the back, in some of these seams in here, you'll see where they brushed it out as well. So you'll get a bead in some of these gaps, and then you'll get a brushed bead, and then you get blow in as well. So we do that on every single car.
Awesome. Now what about the harness? I noticed an all new harness here.
Every single car we do now gets a new harness. And it's one of those things we usually get a little kickback on, but believe it or not, this will save the customers so much money. These cars have been abused. They've had cassettes in them. They've had 8 tracks put in them. They've had alarm system. We've seen Romex wiring in a 914.6.
That's not factory. That's not stock.
Factory 914.6 with Romex house wiring for his alarm system.
Wow.
So when we do this, we'll go to our friends at Restoration Design and they will make an absolutely brand new harness, perfect for the car. We can even get custom modifications to the harness if we want. If it was an early car with a fuel pump in the back and we want to duplicate the fuel pump in the front like the later cars, Pete over there is a big help for us. But we do that on every single car now. Every single car gets a new harness. This car is going to be a 2.5 liter twin plug 911 motor. In any 911 motor we put in these things, we put a front cooler in it. We have custom made a cooler that is the exact specifications of the 908 cooler that they put in the factory GTs. So when you buy a factory GT shroud, this cooler literally bolts right in and you're good to go. It's a perfect cooler. Every car we run, we're actually running super cool, 180, 200 degrees max at the track. Now you know how they won races. Here is what we call step number 4. This is basically assembly. So he's almost reaching final assembly here. So the motor and the drivetrain is in the car. The front end, I kind of like to say, once you get this front end kind of sorted out here and you get the engine and drivetrain into the car, you're about 80% done with the car. But it's the last 10% on a restoration that takes the longest. So this is a factory 6. You saw another one, believe it or not, the car for undercoating out there. That's a second factory 6. So in the shop this week we have 2 factory 914.6s. There were 3,310, number keeps changing, 9 or 10 or thereabouts. So 3,300 cars made, and this is one of them. You can tell by the black on the top of the strut towers here. This is again one of those details that we replicate on all of these cars. These are hand painted at the factory. Only the 6s got that. This was a Golden Gate Region autocross car, so she got beat up pretty good. Our job was to put it back together and get everything sorted out, get everything straightened out on this car. So this car went down to bare metal, had some metal work done on it, and it's absolute perfect condition now. And we'll just walk our way around it so you can kind of see the early vintage cream colored headlight surrounds. Everything is going back to stock. Even all of the HVAC hoses that will evap the fuel back into the engine compartment. Everything on this car is going back to stock. Stock colors on all the plating, all of that stuff.
Beautiful. Eric, how long is a project like this typically in your shop?
These can be here for, some of them have been here for years, but usually we're looking at 8 months to a year and a half, depending on the detail of the car. This one obviously is getting quite a bit of detail.
Yes.
Astute eyes will notice that this one is not necessarily a stock factory 6 motor in here, but this customer had his motor and transmission also redone, and he's turning that into an engine running stand. So the idea is if somebody buys this car in the future, they'll have the original numbers matching engine and numbers matching transmission as a run-in stand, but the customer wanted this motor here. So this is a 2.7 liter, and what we're doing is we're putting a modern electronic fuel injection in here that looks like a carburetor, and everything in this car will look and work like a 1970 914.6, only a little better because she's got electronic fuel injection, all the timing, all of the fuel is all metered with the computer. This is final delivery. This car has about 200 miles on it right now of our 500-mile test. We do a 250-mile mountain test, and then we do a 250-mile desert test. By that time, the motor's broken in, everything is ready to go. We've made our list of all the little knickknacks that are bugging us and have to be taken care of. This car is quite unique. This customer, super detailed about everything that goes into this car. So this is one of our 2.3 liter electronically fuel injected motors in here. That's about 160 horsepower.
Yeah.
EFI motor. You can see here we have 225s stuck on a narrow body car.
Yep.
So this is what would be the Porsche 7R wheel that was on the 911R, and up front we have the Deep 6, which has the same facial profile. So the wheels look the same on the outside, but this is a 7 back here with 225s and a 6 up front with 215s.
Beautiful.
Moving
Great
around.
stance.
Yeah, she's perfect, ready to go. Moving around to the back, this is a unique feature. Some people love them, some people hate them, but this is this customer's idea. It's a fantastic rendition of the 911R lights, but what we did here, these are totally custom. So the car was scanned, 3D scanned. The headlight or the taillight surrounds, excuse me, were 3D scanned, and we built these literally off the factory taillight housings, and we then incorporated the 3 lights. So the 914 has the reverse light in it, and built these custom lights for the car.
Very slick.
There's little touches everywhere. So a tiny little touch on the exhaust where he's using the factory balance, you see, but we also cut out a second notch on the right side for the muffler, and we matched the factory cutout perfectly on the other side. 914 badge.
Yep.
And then the 2.3 next to it. That's all custom little touches everywhere throughout this whole car. Custom little touches. So everything's been done on the car. Again, you're seeing the factory seam sealer reapplied in here. This is the way the car would have looked. Maybe a little better maybe than when it was delivered at the factory. Another subtle little touch, when you turn on the lights, you now have 2 trunk lights and 2 engine lights back there.
Oh, very nice.
And that's a little touch that we
Yeah.
did. But you can see how these lights fit right into the factory mounts.
Looks like they were meant to be there.
There you go.
Eric, tell us about the interior. It's just chock full of beautiful details.
It is, yeah. So customer's idea. He had the seats, and he wanted to do the dash as well. We actually were looking at exploring door panels and things like that. So we went through Coachworks, where you saw all the cars being torn down, disassembled, reassembled, painted, all that good stuff. This is Brakeworks. This is the division that literally started the company. I was building 914 rear calipers in my garage 20 years ago to help pay for my 914 6GT habit. So here we are in the shipping and receiving room. We have what we call a there and back philosophy as far as how this organization runs. So it starts here, it goes down there, and it works its way back. And so we have receiving over here. You can see Jack is receiving a set of calipers here, and he will put them in the system. They will get tracked throughout our system. We have basically kind of a virtual whiteboard on the computer where we can take little, let's say, post-it notes and transfer them from department to department. So he's going to get this set up, and then it's going to go into the next room, which is build assembly and tear down. So those 2 are in the next room. Build assembly, tear down. So after the calipers are received, they come into this room and they get torn down. So here they are here on the bench. We have our customer. We have all the information here on the shelf. They're ready to be torn down. They come over here, and Rachel works her magic. So what's going on right now? This is a 1983 to 89 set of Carrera calipers being torn down on the bench. So everything will come off these, kind of like the cars. Everything is going to get stripped down to the bare pieces. We'll take the caliper halves apart, strip them down. We're using water, max press. So water will just pop those pistons out. Even stuck pistons, any piston, we can usually get out with water. That's what's happening here. So water can use taking the pistons out, and the caliper can come apart. And they go into our next step, which is pickling. We actually pickle the calipers before we plate them. Pickling is a process, it's a plating process where what we want to do is we want to put them in strong hydrochloric for about, depending on how strong, and that's, I think his job is to depend on how he's going to tell us how strong that hydrochloric is. They're going to sit in there for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. We've got to be very careful with this step. This is where we caution other people about using other platers. You got to be very careful with this stuff because the fluid inlets are a small 10x1 fine thread, and we cannot keep them in there too long, otherwise those threads are going to be destroyed. So we're going to pickle them here. That's going to get all the grease, all the gunk off of them, and then they go into the next room, which is the media blast room. From pickling, this is what the caliper body looks like. It's been all taken apart. Now it's come out of that pickling solution, and we have all of the grease off of it. We have all of the brake fluid, all of the gunk is now off of this caliper, and it's ready to go into our media blasting cabinet, okay? So they will go in the media blasting cabinet, and they will come out of there as a fresh casting. And it'll look the way it did when it left the casting back at the Atte factory in Germany. This will give you an idea what it looks like after it comes out of the sandblaster. So all down to bare metal. Now guess what? I'm getting all my human greasy fingerprints on this thing. So we'll show you what we do about that in the next step here. So now we're going to go into the fun part. We're going to get into plating. Back to the plating room.
Okay.
So here we are in the plating room. Adrian's going to show us what he's doing here. These are some Girling bus calipers from the looks of it. They came in Girling or Atte, and I believe these are the Girling version of the bus caliper. And you can see now he's got a good layer of zinc on here. How does the zinc work? Here's how it works. These are called anodes, these copper bars. On the front bar and the back bar, what we have here are titanium baskets. I'm showing you some more plating. Yeah, titanium baskets here that are holding zinc balls. They're about the size of a golf ball. And this is positively charged. And that is a mild acidic solution, kind of like ketchup is a mild acidic solution. And the zinc balls are slowly dissolving in that mixture. And when he hangs calipers on the negative anode, that negative anode attracts the zinc to the caliper body. So that's how the zinc gets on the caliper body. We'll take them out. He'll put them in a rinse tank, then he'll put them in the dichromate yellow tank. That's where you get the dichromate finish. He'll rinse it again here, and then they go off to an oven where they bake that dichromate finish on. Here's a little look inside the oven. You can see the finish getting baked on, and there's some black fasteners in there getting black zinc treatment as well.
It's all about the details.
Details, details. A little noisy in here, but we'll try to explain what's going on. This is assembly, so final assembly. They've come back from the big plating, and Niall here has put the seals inside, and he's doing really the final step right now, which is just attaching those compensating lines to the calipers. These calipers, for the astute, these are the 356C or SC calipers from 1964, 1965, 2 years only. These calipers here were some of the calipers that showed up on the very first 911s as well. Probably only the first 50 to 75 911s off the line came with these calipers here. These calipers also represent the very first four-wheel disc brake system outside of racing applications for Porsche production vehicles. From this point forward, from 1964 on forward, every single Porsche had a disc brake on all four wheels. So this is really the final step. What he's doing now is setting the torque value for the M8 fastener. It should be about 25 foot-pounds. And he'll do a two-step torque process on these. And he'll work his way around. And he does it in a certain order, so 2, 3, 1, and 4. And you can hear the torque wrench when it's perfectly set up. Once he's torqued everything, the final step will be to put the paint on the fasteners to say, yep, I torqued them. You get torque paint on there, and out the door they go.
Beautiful.
So we're back in the shipping and receiving room, and this is the final step. The calipers are getting ready to get boxed up and shipped out. Here you've got your torque paint, calipers ready to go. It'll get boxed up and shipped out to you.
And you're shipping around the world, right?
Around the world. We have literally, I think, sent calipers almost every country out there by now. So we do just probably over $1 million just in calipers alone every year. So.
Impressive.
Pretty big.